complete silence. It makes me uncomfortable, because that is when my thoughts become uncontrollable. Quiet whispers of truths are drowned out by the brash screams of lies. To stop the constant urge to cry, I press play on my iTunes. I soon realize that I become too busy with work, friends, music to spend time with God. Because in order to spend time with God, I have to climb past myself. But that sounds too hard, so I'll pass. Myself has learned to do it all alone. One-man army. Someone recently told me, Case, you've been burned by so many people, but for some reason you keep trying. Hardly. But through DeVos, God has shown me I desperately need balance and accountability. I can no longer rely solely on my talents, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord. So I've made action steps to set aside prayer time and to dig into His Word. I've already set aside time to sit and cry, talk to God, but it seems that's what I do every time. I've started asking others how I can pray for them. It's given me purpose during that time, and it allows me to build closer relationships that I wouldn't ever have. I've asked 2 of my friends to hold me accountable with every aspect of my life, and they are the type to call me out when I don't get things right.
So I think about a kid, and when they're first learning how to ride a bike, they're like wobbly and they're like learning and they're trying to figure out how do I control my core so that I'm able to stay on the bike and continue on in the journey. And really a regrouping of self, and to be able to say, okay, well, these are the certain areas of my life, and they make up who I am and what I'm doing at this point in time in my life, and I have to balance them all out to make my core strong so that I'm able to move forward and finish my journey. Before DeVos, I felt like my life was really out of balance. So when I got into DeVos, I was working really hard like most young people are doing, most young professionals are trying to get their career started, but I was completely drained, completely stressed out, completely over it. And I had to reevaluate what I thought success was. So I had to go back, and DeVos helped me to reorder those things. And really I feel like balance, that core value has really been prominent in this time, because I've been really able to focus on, okay, I still work, but not excessively, and we're eating and working out and doing those things right, but not excessively. So really learning how to balance those things out so that my life is one that's functionable and enjoyable.
Interdependence means that you are able to connect with others who may be like-minded and maybe not like-minded, but to collaborate on a level where you're able to work together to make something happen. When you have true interdependence, or what I like to call as collective impact, it's the word that I like to use. It's not just communicating with someone or partnering with someone and having your names on a program, but it's really making sure that all things are intertwined, that resources are shared, that the partnership is really strong with tools and any additional things that are needed, but everybody has equal parts. And I think that's what we've been able to do with the DeVos partners this past spring. There's been several of us that have connected and collaborated to create a youth advocacy type of program for the young people in our churches. So we've all stepped in, we've connected. There's at least 3 or 4 of us that have said we want to do this together.
The view of empowerment has changed since starting the DeVos program. Before, I knew that I needed to take people and put them in places where they could do more than they were. But I didn't know how to get there. And I realized through DeVos that it was an issue of trust. In order to get somebody from just participating to leading, you have to entrust things to them. And a lot of times those things may not be done as well as you had wanted it, or in the way you had wanted it. And that's the sacrifice that had to be made in order to get them to a place of leadership capacity. And so DeVos taught me how to entrust ministry to people, how to surrender that control for the greater good.
Leverage is basically causing big change with small things, small adjustments. Most people think in order to have big change, you got to do a ton of things, but sometimes it's just the smaller adjustments that we need in order to get the advantage in either in our personal life or in ministry. And through DeVos, when I began to learn about leverage, I learned how to take a strong inventory of who and what I have and who's just willing. And it was in our young people who had just started graduating from high school. And now they're handling the business. Now they're mentoring the younger kids, and now they're bringing them in. Now they're the ones making decisions for the services, for our outreaches, our youth nights and different things like that. Because at first, I believe my view was too small at the time. I was looking at, okay, it has to be just people of this age, or, and to lead. And then as I began to learn about leverage, it broadened my view, and I began to look at, okay, these are the resources that I have, and let's use it. And it has been a strong leverage point, and I've seen a significant difference in our youth ministry because of that.